Welcome to our 11th annual Remembrance Day Ceremony. Okay, now it's on. Sorry guys. Good morning. My name is Sharon Sable McMillan, and I'm going to be your MC for the ceremony today. Veterans, honored guests, and fellow citizens, welcome to our 11th annual Remembrance Day Ceremony. I would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples, acknowledging the One Bowl and Spoon Treaty. As we continue to walk on this land, may we learn to be responsible stewards and allies, and may we always strive for truth, reconciliation, and understanding. On this solemn occasion, we gather together to pay our respects, to remember, and to honor the brave men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice in service to Canada and the defense of freedom. Today we come together as a community, as a nation, and as individuals with deep gratitude in our hearts. As we assemble here in unity and respect, we recognize that Remembrance Day is a time to reflect on the sacrifices made by our servicemen and women throughout history. It is a day to honor their courage, their dedication, and their unwavering commitment to defending the values we hold dear and that define us as Canadians. Remembrance Day is a day for us to pause, not just to recall the conflicts of the past, but also to consider the lasting impact of these sacrifices on our present and on our future. It's a day to remember that the freedoms we enjoy today were secured by the selflessness of those who served and by the families who supported them. As we stand here, we are reminded that the poppy, a symbol of Remembrance Day, is not just a flower, but a profound emblem of resilience, hope, and remembrance. Let it serve as a reminder of the enduring spirit of those who served, as well as a symbol of our commitment to building a more peaceful world. Thank you all for joining us today as we unite in remembrance, reflection, and gratitude. In the moments ahead, we will pay tribute to those who have given their all for our nation. We pay our enduring respect to those who have given the rest of their lives so that we might live in peace for the rest of our lives. Let us honor their memory and pledge to ensure that their sacrifices are never forgotten. Together, let us embark on this journey and remembrance, a journey that brings us closer We're very fortunate today. Isn't that been wonderful? Together, let us embark on this journey of remembrance, a journey that brings us closer to the principles of peace, unity, and freedom for which they so bravely fought. Welcome to this Remembrance Day ceremony, where we will come together to remember, honor, and pledge never to forget. We will remember them. At this time, I would ask that those who are able to do so, please stand, remove your hats, and join us in the singing of our national anthem by Doug Wilford and our Wainfleet Elementary School students. Thank you, Doug and students. Folks, there's all these chairs here. Please take advantage of the chairs. You don't have to stand for the whole ceremony if it's easier to sit. Now I would like to call on our Padre for today's ceremony. Chaplain Brian Lofthouse is going to provide a reading from Scripture.
Two readings come from Ecclesiastes 3 and then Psalm 46. There's an appointed time for everything, a time for every event under heaven, a time to give birth and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, time to embrace and a time to shun embracing, a time to search and a time to give up as lost, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear apart and a time to sew together, time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Psalm 46 declares, "The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. He says, 'Be still and know that I am God.'"
Thank you, Chaplain Lofthouse. I would now like to call on our Legion representative for today's ceremony, Comrade Tex Kaiser, to lead us in the act of remembrance.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them. Thank you.
At the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we observe a 2-minute silence to pay our respects to the fallen. Let us now pause in silence to remember and reflect. I would now like to call upon Ken Martin to bring greetings on behalf of the Government of Canada.
Thank you. Let me begin by saying it is an honor today to represent our Member of Parliament, Dean Allison, who is participating in another Ceremony in Niagara West. He's asked I bring greetings and share the following. 106 years ago today, on November 11th, 1918, at 11 a.m., the Armistice Treaty between the Allies and Germany came into effect. While the signing of the treaty saw silence descend on the battlefields of Europe, it unfortunately did not put an end to the future wars and armed conflicts around the world. Since the historic moment in time, the world has seen many more lives lost in battle, including thousands upon thousands of Canadians. During the first half of the 20th century, more than 1.5 million Canadians were called upon to defend international peace and freedom. More than 110,000 Canadians have lost their lives. Today we recognize November 11th as an opportunity to give thanks and pay tribute to these soldiers who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the defense of our country, values we share in Canada. At the same time, we thank the Canadian soldiers who are today continuing to work to defend the values and promote peace around the world. Through every war, every conflict, and every challenge, our brave men and women have stood up for our country and protected our rights and freedoms with integrity. Today, both our veterans and active military personnel carry on the legacy of our fathers and mothers, our brothers and sisters, and our friends who sacrificed everything to protect our values and freedoms. Their bravery and self-sacrifice will always be remembered by our grateful nation. It is because of their dedication and commitment that the Canadian families live in peace and security. Our Royal Canadian Armed Forces epitomize courage, integrity, and valor, attributes recognized both at home and abroad. On behalf of MP Dean Allison, we thank all the members of the Royal Canadian Armed Forces for the sacrifice made in order to protect the values, freedoms, and security that Canada holds dear. Today, 106 years later, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we offer our gratitude and our commitment to never forget their services, lest we forget. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. I would now like to call upon Michael Sweep to bring greetings on behalf of the province of Ontario.
I'm bringing greetings on behalf of MPP Oosterhoff, who is at the Beamsville cenotaph at this very hour. On Remembrance Day, Canadians remember the brave men and women who have served and continue to serve our country during times of conflict, war, and peace. We honor the men and women who served during the First and Second World Wars, the Korean War, and Afghanistan. We honor the men and women who have served in every conflict in which members of the Canadian Forces have participated to give us and others freedom. Grosbeek War Cemetery is the final resting place of the largest number of Canadian war dead in the Netherlands. 71 members of the Lincoln and Welland Regiment are buried at this site. Some of the names from Niagara inscribed on the graves at Grosbeek include Private Peter Phillips, Private Milton John Edmund Crawford, and Private Henry Riley. When I contemplate this hallowed ground in the fields and farmland of the Netherlands, I think about the fierce fight for freedom in the final months of the Second World War. Because of the sacrifices of Canadians on Dutch soil, my grandparents, along with thousands of immigrants from the Netherlands, were liberated from Nazi occupation and given a new life in Canada, including right here in Wainfleet. On the memorial in the Canadian War Cemetery at Grosbeek are inscribed the following words: "We live in the hearts of friends for whom we died." We are the friends, those of us living in Canada today, who are called to honor the memory of those who served and those who died. And we are the friends who will remember the sacrifices made at home and abroad. and we are the friends who will pause here today and stand in silence. Wherever the battlefield, whatever the cost, through their bravery and selflessness, our men and women in uniform have protected our values, defended our rights and freedoms, and shaped our nation's history. They embody the words of Christ. It is more blessed to give than to receive. And as we stand here in peace and safety, secure within borders, supported by the democratic ideals of peace, order, and good government, we pay our respects to all the fallen, all the wounded, and all who served in conflicts over the years. Today, Ontario is home to approximately 150,000 veterans, and this number is growing. To those who have served and continue to serve, we thank you and we salute you. We salute all who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, lest we forget.
Thank you, Michael. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce Wainfleet's Mayor, Brian Grant, who will recognize our dignitaries and say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Esteemed guests, honored veterans, dear friends and neighbors, thank you for once again joining us today for the 11th annual Remembrance Day Ceremony here in Wainfleet. We are honored to be joined today by several local dignitaries, and at this time I'd like to recognize representing the federal government, Ken Martin, representing the Government of Ontario, Michael Zeep, representing the Township of Wainfleet, Councillors McCullen, Councillors Van Fleet, Councillor Anderson, and Councillor Gilmore, and representing the Indigenous peoples, Gord Flag. As we gather under this autumn sky, we carry with us the profound gratitude for those who have shouldered a responsibility that few of us will ever know, to ensure that the flame of peace would always continue to flicker in our little town and thousands like it across Canada and throughout the world. In the stillness of this moment, we recall the significance of the 11th day of the 11th month when the world stood still to mark the end of the First World War. We honor the memory of those who endured the trials of war, suffered honorable wounds, and paid with their own lives to preserve the peace that now graces our township. The memories of past conflicts may seem distant now, but we witness every day the need to always be ready to defend our way of life and the safety of peace-loving people everywhere. As we remember those in our community who have paid the ultimate price and whose names are forever immortalized on the plaques in Town Hall and here by the cenotaph itself, let us always be thankful for their bravery and sacrifices they made that speak without words to the character of our community. In the spirit, we extend our heartfelt appreciation to our veterans and to those serving in the Canadian Forces today. Their unwavering commitment to upholding peace and security, of placing the value of our lives above their own, is a testament to the enduring legacy of Canada's military tradition. May we always celebrate our freedom as we remember the sacrifices of veterans and uphold our collective promise to stand guard for Canada as they have done. We will remember them, lest we forget.
Thank you, Mayor Grant. We are now going to proceed to the laying of the wreaths, and I would like to invite our honored guests forward and lay wreaths in remembrance of the fallen. So those who are going to be laying a wreath, could you please take a stand beside the wreaths to the right of the cenotaph, please? And when you come up, please bring the stand with you. Thank you. It'll just take a few moments for everyone to shuffle around. Okay. On behalf of the federal government, Ken Martin. On behalf of the provincial government, Michael Sweep. On behalf of the regional government, Mayor Grant. Behalf of the Township of Wainfleet, Councillor Anderson. On behalf of the Port Colborne Legion Branch 56, Beth Kaiser. And might I say that the gentleman, thank you, Tex Kaiser, who's saluting the wreaths as they come forward. The Royal Canadian Air Force Association 434 Wing, Dr. Wilkes Whitehall. On behalf of Indigenous peoples, Gord Flag. '87th Eagle Squadron. World War I. World War II. A World War II veteran, a resident of Wainfleet, Harold Grant, his son, Paul, and grandson, Brian. And I see a couple more little ones, not sure, sorry. Great grandsons. The veterans of the Battle of Hong Kong. The Veterans of Canada, RC, Ken Martin. Our Niagara Regional Police. Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Kevin Gibson. Our Niagara Emergency Medical Services, Rob. Wainfleet Fire and Emergency Services, Chief Alcock. Volunteer Firefighters, Chuck Farkas. The Wainfleet Seniors. Wainfleet Meridian Credit Union. Wainfleet Historical Society. Wainfleet Lions Club, Mark Lambert. Addercliff Canadian Reformed Elementary School. St. Elizabeth Elementary School. Marshville Public School. A Child's World Daycare. Marshville Chocolates. Port Colborne Golden Puck. The Orange Lodge. The Dutch community. Morgan's Point United Church. Rogers and Barrick family. The Cenotaph Committee. The United Nations NATO Veterans of Niagara. Thank you, everyone who assisted us in the laying of the wreaths. Thank you to Jake and Doug. Now I would like to call on Chaplain Brian Lofthouse to offer the benediction.
As I share in this prayer, I think that we can all agree, if you are a person that believes in prayer, our world needs you now. St. Francis of Assisi declared, "Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in dying that we are born to eternal life." The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Lofthouse. Doug Wilford will now lead us in the singing of God Save the King.
Thank you, Sharon. And at this time, I would ask you to stand and remove your caps and join me in the singing of God Save the King. God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. God save the King. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King.
Thank you, Doug. We must always remember that the freedoms we enjoyed were paid for with the blood and tears of those who came before us. Let us not take their sacrifices for granted, but instead use it as a driving force for a brighter and more peaceful future. Thank you for your service. Canada remembers, we remember them. Thank you all for attending, and this brings to a conclusion. And I would like to say, if you wish to leave your poppy at the cenotaph, please leave it on the cross that we have here. Sometimes the pin, if there's bad rain, it will leave rust marks on the cenotaph, and they're kind of hard to get off. So we ask that you please leave your poppy on the cross. And I also want to thank Alf Beam and Alf Hermansson in their T-28 Trojans for the 3 fly pass. Thank you all for attending, and we now hope that you will be able to enjoy us in the community hall for some light refreshments, courtesy of the Port Colborne Legion. Thank you all.